Okay, so today we're going to take our data that we gathered yesterday and we're going to turn it into a graph. So this should be what you guys see. If you see something different, let me know. And we're going to click on this document right here. It automatically creates you your own fresh document so that you're not, just copying off of other people. I already filled out the data from yesterday, but we still need to go through and figure out our change in temperature. Remember, that's the thing we're going to want to graph. So in order to do that, we just take that temperature final minus our temperature initial, and that will give us our delta T. Okay? So I'm going to break out my calculator. Bring it over here. I'm going to do this side first. So I take 16 minus 21, and that gives me negative 5. Okay, negative 5. I'm going to put my labels on here. Degrees Celsius. You guys should have labels on there. And then I'm just going to zoom through and do all of these calculations and fast forward the video. All right, so now that I've got all of my data filled out, we're going to go ahead and make some graphs. So go down to the graphs section. Give myself a little space there. Go to Insert up here, Insert, go to Chart, and use a line. We're going to use a line graph here. That's going to make the most sense for data like this. And then once it automatically generates this thing, it'll also automatically generate an Excel spreadsheet, well, a Google spreadsheet that'll have all of our data in it. And then we can just go edit that. So this little button up here, I click on that, and I hit Open Source. So this graph is linked to this document. So it'll open this document up for me, and then just let it load for a little bit. I'm just going to move this out of my way. That's going to move it. Okay. And this is the data that is generating this graph. So in order to adjust that data, we're going to need to use this data. So we only need one column, so we don't need this period 2 at all. We aren't using teams, we're using numbers, so we're going to need to adjust that. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get rid of that second column. So I'm going to go here, over here, I click on this guy, click on these 3 little buttons, I can hit Edit Chart. When I click Edit Chart, I can come down here where it says Series. It's got my period 1, period 2. I'm just going to remove period 2. So it's only going to show me 1. All right. Then I'm going to delete this data. Don't need it. I'm going to rename my period 1, and I'm going to start with the ammonium nitrate. So that's NH4NO3. So it should just look just like that. So we see it populated there. Points scored. I want to change this title too, so that when it shows up in my document, I can very clearly see ammonium nitrate. That's what this is about. So the next, I need to get rid of this data right here, okay? I don't want this. This is dumb data. It means nothing to me. So I need to come over here and grab this data. This column, the y-axis, this is going to be my masses. And what I want to do for these is notice 5 grams, 10, 20, 40, 59. Notice down here how it's got even spacing between each of these. That's because the system doesn't know these are numbers. The system thinks these are labels. So it thinks it's populating a point for 5 different labels. We want this to think they're numbers so that it actually shows the scale properly. So I'm going to show you what I mean by that. I'm going to get rid of the G on each of these. Once I do that, you can already see it's populated that way. So now, look at this. Now 10 to 20 to 30 to 40, these are even spreads. So now, yeah, I've got a data point at 5, but it's down here. Okay. I'm gonna do something else too. Just to make this graph even more even, I'm gonna add a 0. And that 0 is gonna stay 0. Okay, now I come back here and I'm going to grab my changes in temperature. Okay, go away. Thank you. I don't know why it populates like that. That's really annoying that it does that. There we go. Okay, Once again, it's not really showing the right data because it's got these weird labels on it. So I'm going to remove those labels. Okay, and now my data shows this really clean spread. So I can see at 5 grams, I've got a negative 5 degrees. At 10 grams, I've got negative 10.5. I'm able to see this data. And I see, even though at the end here, going to 59, why isn't it showing that? Okay, so the chart is set up. Here's another thing to adjust. Is set up to only look at the data right here. We need the data right here. So we go back in here, hit Edit Chart, and we adjust this data range right here. We go from A1 to A7, B1 to B7. Okay, there we go. All right, and let's give our x-axis a label. It's mass. All right. And there we go. We have a graph showing all of our information. If I come back over here, but oh no, my graph hasn't updated. But it knows that there was a change to the source document, so if I click Update, it'll update it. So there's my graph that's actually showing the information I want it to show, and I can see I've got this very clean spread, this pretty even line. It does start to slope a little bit more as we go down, but then suddenly it flattens out. Okay, so by looking at the data graphically like that, it could actually help me understand it. All right, let's make the one for potassium hydroxide. So insert another line graph. Once again, it starts from nothing, and I'm going to open the source. First thing I'm going to do is get this out of the way and edit the chart. So from last time, data range is, let's see if let's get rid of this first. Remove that. A1 to B5. I want my data range to be A1 to B7. Okay. So x-axis A1 to A7, good. So then I'm going to come in here, get rid of this data, give this a better name, KOH, and then I'm going to go grab my masses. So copy that, bring it over here, paste it right here, turn the first one into a 0, and get rid of my grams. We can already see it evened out for us. So next thing we need to do is come back here, grab our temperature changes. Put 0 in for the first one. So there's no change at 0. We want our graph to go all the way down to 0. Okay, there we go, and there's our graph. And we can see with the potassium hydroxide, we had a lot more of an even slope. There wasn't really a place where it just started to flatline. Even here, where there was a slight change, it wasn't that big of a difference. Our slope is still pretty even. So what do you think that means? All right, so last thing, point scored, change that to potassium hydroxide. Label that as mass just because I'm picky. Okay, come back here, back into our document, update our graph, and we're good to go. So now we have a graph for ammonium nitrate, and we have a graph for potassium hydroxide. Perfection. All right, tomorrow we're going to go through and we're going to do some calculations to actually figure out how much a joule is. So we've got data tables, we've got graphs. This is what you should have by the end of today. Thanks, guys.